Hello everyone and welcome to Corey Loses, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Galactic Conquest scenario editor that we announced a few months ago on the Thrawn's Revenge mod database page and the Thrawn's Revenge website. Essentially what this is a tool that allows you to create a Galactic Conquest scenario for whatever mod you want, base game, Thrawn's Revenge, any other mod, because it is based on whatever files you give it. So right now what you're going to see in this build here is we're just going to quickly go through and set up the initial stages for the reunification GC for Imperial Civil War 2.2. I'm not going to talk too much about what's going into that GC specifically as far as any story events or anything. This is more just to show how this specific tool works. Keep in mind while you are watching that this is a very early version of the tool. This is essentially only being used for internal development, and Pox actually wanted to restart the entire development process for this tool. He wanted to rework how a lot of the code worked on the back end. So while a lot of the end functionality that you're going to see in that tool will be the same for this stuff, it's actually working entirely different on the back end. So right now, the only stuff that we had done in this particular build before Pox wanted to restart that is we have the ability to select the planets in the GC, as well as the ability to create the trade routes. So you pick the trade routes and you can also make new ones. That alone actually saves several hours off the process of creating a GC, especially in Thrawn's Revenge, where we have all the travel routes picked, or all the travel routes are set as trade routes, so everything has to be explicitly done in the game, and you have to code a bunch of new trade routes for everything, and it's always hard to tell like which you already have the trade routes for. But this tool has saved like countless hours and frustration and tedium. But once the tool is fully done, we will be releasing it to the public. I don't know if that'll be at the same time as 2.2. It might be a bit after, because essentially what we're trying to do is get all the functionality that we need for development done first, and then a lot of the cleanup, the stuff to make it more user-friendly for people who don't necessarily know how to mod as well, would come a little bit after that. But I'm sure we'll let some other people in on the testing for it at some point. And yeah, so there will be other features coming, like the ability to actually place your starting units, maybe even working in story scripting and that sort of thing. But this is essentially going to be a tool that we're making because we know what we need as people who are modding the game, and then it's stuff that should be useful for pretty much anyone, or anyone who just wants to, or anyone making a mod, or anyone who just wants to have their own custom Galactic Conquest scenarios. So I'll just get into it here. I have a spreadsheet open on my other monitor where I keep a list of all the planets, all the GC stuff. So I'm going to be looking at that, getting all the planets set up here. So as you can see here, there is a checkbox of all the coded planets in any given mod, or whatever mod you have loaded into the editor. You just have to place the XML files into the folder for the editor. We may end up having it so that you can like open it and navigate to the folder, which that'd probably be later in development though. I will see what happens with that. But I'm going to do this in order of the faction. So for the remnant here, we're going to get the Maw, and then we're going to get Kessel. And you'll notice at the bottom here, the trade routes that populate the list, it'll load all the trade routes in the mod, but the only ones that'll show up in this list will be the ones that are applicable to the planets you have selected. So, where's Kessel? Kessel. If you look here, you'll see everything in the image here. If you click on the planet, it'll tell you the name of that specific planet. So let's say you were developing the scenario and then you're like, oh, I need a planet between these two, but you don't know exactly which one it is in the list. Then you can just, there's Kuwat, you'd scroll up, find Kuwat, or I guess scroll down, activate Kuwat, and then you'd have Kuwat in the GC. But you can also see all the positions of all of your planets as they are. One of the other things we do want to put into the GC builder here is the ability to actually add planets while you're in this. Right now, obviously, that tool isn't in yet, but that will be something that we do want to do. All right, so the reunification scenario, obviously, the remnant is starting only at the Maw. So let's see, next we have the New Republic. We're going to get Com. We have Jardan, Porus Vita, Dantooine. So it would be easier if I had put this stuff in the spreadsheet in alphabetical order, but No, not Dagobah, Dantooine. One of the things we were talking about is making it so that you can just actually select the planets on the map. You can do that to actually build the trade routes, but you can't do it to select the planets right now. That'll possibly be something that we get in for a future build. There's plenty we want to do with this, but right now it actually, even in its current form, saves so much time. Il Shah, then we want Coruscant. We want Porus Vita, Yavin, Mon Calamari. So Mon Calamari, Porus Vita, and Yavin. And Yavin. Okay. So those are the New Republic planets, and you'll see they're all darker on the map here. Next, we have the Pentastar alignment planets, Bastion, Munilinst, and Ordrassi. Probably be a few more by the time we have it all set up here. We'll see if there's any that fit in the map that we want, because there's a couple extra spaces that I try to leave open when designing the scenarios just to give a bit more wiggle room. So what were the Bastion, Munilinst, Ordrassi? Bastion, Munilinst, and Ordrassi. You can see on the list here, as we select them, it'll start populating that list more and more with our stuff. The planet names are actually based on the names in the XML. So if the mod, like in the mod, we have a lot of the Ord planets just with a second part. Instead of putting Ordrassi, we just put Trassy. So you have to go there. Odic 2 and Camp for the Errata Authority. Odic and Camp. A lot of the warlords were relegated to the deep core, so there's only so much room you have to work with. Let's add in Calceti for them as well, because I don't really love just having 1 or 2 planet for them. So where's Calceti? It would obviously be near the top of the seas. Calceti. Akasi, Rivester, and Apaean for Greater Maldrude. So Apaean, Akasi, and Rivester. There we go. Now we have these Zero Command, Kaelist, Mustafar, Atravis. I know Belsavis is in there as well. Atravis, Belsavis, Kaelist, Tatooine, Abregado. Belsavis, Tatooine. I think this might be the first GC that we've actually included Tatooine in for ICW. So Kaelist and Mustafar. Because a lot of the planets for Zero Command ended up being down here after the Shadow Command or Shadow Hand campaign. Mustafar and Hakasi. And then obviously if you had all of your, wait, not Hakasi, Kaelist. If you had all of your planets listed that you wanted, if you were more organized than I am, just in alphabetical order for everything, you just scroll down the list, you'd say, I want this one, this one, this one, this one, or if you're trying to design it from scratch, you just say, oh, I want this planet, which one is that? Paderis, you go down, activate Paderis. So Kessel, then we also want the Cauldron Nebula and Sauce Beacon for story purposes. We will have an actual news update coming soon with a bit more of a breakdown on the structure of this campaign, because there will be 1 or 2 story events in it, and then we're also going to talk about some other stuff in that, so I won't spoil too much, but yeah. Do we give them any sort of... yeah, that is a shipyard. Alright, so this is the basic structure of the GC. You have a lot going on in the core. There's some stuff going on around the rim. Not as much in the mid-rim, though. So, about 20 planets. Let's give the Pentastar alignment Ord Tracy. No, not Ord Tracy. What's that planet called? Brinda. And I think we'll leave it like this. So let's see, what are the trade routes we want here? These are all good. Belsis to Mustafar, we're going to leave that off. That's on. Chalceddy to Odic, that's good. Chardin to the Maw, that's good. Coruscant. Let's leave that one off. Coruscant to Odic, no. Coruscant to the Sauce Beacon, yes. Dantooine to Munilinst, yes. Dantooine to Ord Tracy. This is the part where it's like really saving you a lot of time here. Because before this, in-game, I'd just be like taking screenshots of every section and like drawing stuff on in Photoshop, then going into the XMLs to actually put them on or creating the new trade routes. Whereas in this, I already know exactly what we already have the trade routes for and just activate them or not. And then in a moment, I'm going to show you guys how to actually make a new trade route when you're in the program. And yeah, well, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. No, I don't think we want that one. These are the tutorial ones. Okay, so these are all the ones that we've already got in the game. And then we're going to need one between Belsavis and Atravis. So we're going to build trade route. The way we usually do it for TR is we try to have them all in alphabetical order so Slorny doesn't kill us. And then I plug them into the bigger XML files. You don't have to do that. But we do that. We do it that way for organizational purposes in the mod, so we don't end up with duplicate trade routes. We try to keep it all as narrowed down as possible. But if you're just trying to make the GC and you don't really care how the files look, you can really just build them and leave them as is. But so Atravis to Belsavis, you can actually select them on the map. So point A is going to be Atravis. Select on map. Point B is Belsavis, and then there you go. So the next one we want is Atravis to Mustafar. We're going to build another trade route. Select on map, Atravis, Mustafar. And we also want Atravis to Tatooine. So Atravis. Yeah, didn't click properly there. Tatooine. A lot of the ones involving Tatooine are probably going to have to be made. Let's go... We want to give them more access to the Maw. I don't think we do. So let's go Chardin to Tatooine. Rather than having the Remnant have to defend so many parts right off the bat. So we have Chardin to Tatooine now. Camp to Chardin, so we want Chardin to camp. Build trade route. Chardin to camp. And what's this one? Hakasi. Zoom into this section of the map a bit. Hakasi, Com, and camp. So let's get camp to Com. Camp to Com. And if you try to make one that already exists, I will show you that in a second. So let's do camp to Com again. It'll tell you that a trade route between those planets already exists. So you're not going to duplicate it like that either. So you want Hakasi to camp. Hakasi to camp. And there we go. I think we'll also want Hakasi to Porus Vita. No, you can do the drop-down list selection method if you want, but this is almost always going to be the more convenient one unless you've got a ton of stuff down there. So it's what I prefer. Hakasi to Porus Vita. And we want Kessel to Porus Vita. So let's do Kessel to Porus Vita. Rivester, Mon Calamari. Let's get Mon Calamari to Rivester. Nope. Mon Calamari first, Rivester second. Because Lorne. Force Vita to Rivester. There we go. And what's this? Epaean to Rivester. Epaean. Rivester. Can scroll through the map here. Let's get Epaean to Yavin as well. Epaean to Yavin. And then we'll get Yavin to the Cauldron Nebula. Or I guess Cauldron Nebula to Yavin. And Ulshaw. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do Ulshaw to Cauldron Nebula. Cauldron Nebula. Ulshaw. We'll do Cauldron Nebula to Tracy. That to that. Do we want to do a larger route down to the core? I don't think so. I think we want to keep it more of a circle up here. So let's do Coruscant to Orinda. Actually, are there any other planets we want on the way here? Probably not Yinkor. And Ptolemy, Marist. Bilbringi's in this area too. Do we want to... Let's throw in Bilbringi. There's another shipyard for people to fight over, and it'll help the AI stay relevant for a bit longer. What does that bring in as far as trade routes we can use, though? Doesn't actually look like there's any. So Bilbringi's never had a connection directly to any of these planets. Let's go Bilbringi to Ordrassi then, or Orinda. Bilbringi to Orinda. And we'll go Bilbringi. I still want another planet in this area. Let's go for Pakrik Minor. Nah, that's kind of an overused planet in the mod. A lot of these ones in this area are, though, so maybe Dolamar? Yeah, let's go Dolamar. That's probably another New Republic planet, regardless of how we look at it. No, let's leave that how it is now. We'll just get Bilbringi to Coruscant. And we'll leave that as kind of a run up there. And let's get Orinda to Ordrassi. Orinda to Tracy. And then... I kind of want to throw in some more Greater Maldruid stuff. I don't want to do too much because it's kind of harder to say lore-wise what they would still have in the mid-rim. But they do kind of need something to stay relevant. Let's give them Rush, because it's a shipyard. And becoming one of my favorite planets for this release. And we'll go Epaean to Roche. I don't think Epaean's been in any GCs yet, so I think we're okay just to risk it and jump straight into making the trade routes. And maybe we'll give them Contrum. I might switch that out depending on who controlled Contrum at the time, because I don't quite remember. But if we give them maybe Contrum and... I'm pretty sure they lost Centaurs. Don't want to give them any Hapen planets, that's for sure. No, we'll leave it like that for now. We'll see how the testing goes with those factions. We'll even leave it like that so that they have to go out through Roche to Epaean. Yeah. If this is supposed to be a smaller GC in general, there's a lot going on in it, but as far as the total number of planets, we do want it a bit smaller. Let's go to a Bregido Ray. And we'll get a Bregido to Elsevis. So I think that's going to be our basic structure for the new reunification GC. So we just click on new GC. Reunification. There we go. My keyboard is sort of like resting on the base of one of my monitors, one of my Monicas. So it's a bit harder to type on. These fields are a bit more relevant once we get into actually adding stuff like starting forces and that sort of thing. But this is how the game, or how the GC editor saves the game. So, okay, and we're going to save that. Go in here. There we go. So this is what it puts out right now. Obviously in the future, there's a lot of stuff missing. I did do a full GC creation tutorial in XML, so you can actually check that out if you like. I'll try to put a link in the description if I remember. But this is sort of your bare bones information for the GC that you're going to get out of the editor right now. As we add the other sorts of features, I guess, the stuff like starting units and all that stuff, the editor will obviously start outputting more information. We also have here the new trade routes. So this puts out all the new trade routes that I've ever made, I believe. Just appends them to the end of the file. Or actually, I think it compiles all the trade routes. I forget how exactly it works, but up to about here, somewhere in here, is the start of the trade routes we made. Yes, I believe it was Ashavis to Belsavis. So we just copy this out. You can obviously just take the entire file and use it as your new trade routes file, but if you are making your own mod and you have a different structure you want for your trade route files, like we sort of do, you can just copy out the new ones, paste them into your file however you want, and there you go. They're all done for you. You'd have to come in and edit the hyperspace speed factor and all that sort of stuff. Where this is stuff that we're going to try to do as additional features going forward, but we just saved probably 2 hours of work just doing the trade routes there. So that's a quick look at what we're doing as far as this goes. I've been thinking about doing a much larger GC creation stream using the features we have already done for this. So if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing, I can make that happen. I might wait until we have the newer version done, but we'll see how that goes when we want to do it. It's the kind of thing that I'd probably just do spur of the moment. So yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. We are going to have a regular episode of Republic at War, or it's going to be streamed, so it's not really a regular episode. But there will be more Empire at War stuff coming today. And yeah. So thanks again for watching. See you next time, guys. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, here are some more videos you may enjoy. Also, please consider becoming a subscriber, leaving a like, a comment, or becoming a patron on Patreon today. Your support is what keeps the channel going and is greatly appreciated.